Hey YouTube, Twig here, bringing you all an update to my Traptrix Yugioh deck profile for June 2024. This is definitely a fan favorite deck, so much so that it even got a structure deck last year, but it's been well over a year since the last update to my Traptrix deck that I wanted to update it with some of the changes that I've made since the last deck profile, with the main focus of the deck definitely being a control playstyle, with the good majority of your cards in the deck being trap cards that you use in tandem with your different Traptrix monsters, whether they be the many different main deck monsters, the link monsters we can summon out, or even the many different XYZ monsters to use also. And with some of the changes being including some of the numbers to cards like Anti-Spell Fragrance that we used for added backup to some of the other normal traps that are the main focus of the deck. Very happy with the changes I made for the deck profile. So let's go ahead and get started. So we'll go ahead and start off with the main deck monsters. With our Traptrix monsters, we're running 3 copies of Traptrix Myrmilio. This card's unaffected by the effect of hold normal trap cards. When this card's normal summon, you can add 1 hold normal trap from your deck to your hand. If this card's special summon, you can target 1 spell or trap your opponent controls and destroy that target. So depending on how you summon out Myrmilio, you'll either have a search effect or a destruction effect, so making it a better going second play for the special summon effect, and then more of a better going first play for the setup for the different hold traps that we can search off of this card as well, meaning we can utilize a wide variety of one-ofs for our hold traps in the deck, because then they can just be searched out thanks to Myrmilio. We're also running 2 copies of Traptrix Mantis. When it's normal summon, you can add 1 Traptrix monster from your deck to your hand. It's unaffected by the effect of hold normal traps, and once per turn, quick effect, you can target 1 set spell or trap you control, return that target to the hand, then you can set 1 spell or trap from your hand. So then this gives you more of a setup with its quick effect being able to make use of this card if you have a set card on the field that you really can't do much against your opponent currently, so then you can swap it out to have something ready to go for the following turn. And also 2 copies of Traptrix Arachnocampa. It's unaffected by the effects of hold normal traps. The first time each set card in your spell and trap card zone will be destroyed by a card effect each turn. It is not destroyed. And during the main phase, if you control a Traptrix monster, quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand. And you cannot special summon monsters from the extract for the rest of this turn, except for insect or plant monsters, which are the different Traptrix monsters, so really not a limit there either with the card play. You can only use this effect of Arachnocampa once per turn, but it's protection for your set cards, while just giving you another resource on the field to either go for one of your bigger Link 2 plays, or even to go for your XYZ plays in using your 2 Traptrix monsters. And 2 copies of Traptrix Pudica. It's unaffected by the effect of hold normal traps, as you can see the trend following with all the other ones. And you can only use each of the following effects of Pudica once per turn. When it's normal summon, you can add 1 Traptrix Garden from your deck to your hand, which is the spell card that we run for more setup. So just having a 1-of search for our 1-of spell. You can add that card from your deck to your hand. And if this card's special summon, you can target 1 special summon monster your opponent controls and banish it. And also during the next standby phase, your opponent can special summon 1 of their banished monsters, giving them that resource back. But it's almost like you're kind of, making it so you want your opponent to summon out that monster to then be at the mercy of 1 of your trap hold traps that you have on the field also. With the last of the Traptrix monsters being the 1 Traptrix Dionea. It's unaffected by hold normal traps. When in this normal summon, you can target a Traptrix monster in your graveyard and special summon that target in face-up defense, giving you either the resource of a Traptrix monster to then make use of the special summon play, whether it be cards like Pudica or Myrmilio, and then going for the Xyz play. And this card, when it's special summon, being able to target a Traptrix hold normal trap in your graveyard and set that target, but banish it during the end phase of the next turn. But still, you'll more than likely make use of that card you set up thanks to this card when it's special summoned. And for the rest of the main deck monsters, 3 copies of Parallel Exceed. I'm still a big fan of this card in the deck. It just gives you a resource when you link summon, which can be easily done in this deck with cards like Traptrix Sarah, just needing the 1 non-link Traptrix monster to make it. Summoning out the Parallel Exceed, and then another one, and then you have access to a rank 4 Xyz monster right then and there. And some of our Traptrix monsters are pretty generic, making it all the easier to summon out. Now for the spells, we have a very small spell lineup. 1 copy of Traptrix Garden. During your main phase, you can normal summon 1 Traptrix monster in addition to your normal summoner set. You can only gain this effect once per turn, and the first time each plant or insect monster you control will be destroyed by battle, it is not destroyed. And you can banish 1 monster you control to special summon 1 Traptrix monster from your hand or graveyard, giving you that special summon option once again for your Traptrix monsters, but also having the additional normal summons. You can go from normal summons like Mantis and Myrmilio all in the same play and turn. And then for the rest of the spells, 1 copy of Monster Reborn and 1 Call by the Grave. Just more disruption for your opponent's cards with Call by the Grave, and then more of a special summon resource to grab our other Traptrix monsters using this spell also. And as I said before, the main focus for the deck are the many traps that we run, with the whole normal traps being 2 copies of Traptrix Holotea. You can activate this card at the turn of a set by discarding 1 normal trap, special summon it in defense as a normal monster, plant earth, level 4. And also, it's not treated as a trap, and you can banish this card from your graveyard to target a Traptrix monster in your graveyard and special summon it. This gives you the special summon play on your opponent's turn, depending on the Traptrix monster you want to summon out, being a trap to be able to banish from your graveyard. I was considering running 3 copies of this card. If I were to do so, I would drop down 1 of the copies of Floodgate Trap Hole that I'm also running. Another disruption card, because it can take away from your opponent being able to link summon by flipping down the monsters they would have summoned out to use for that play. So more or less knowing when your opponent would do so. But if you only wanted to run 1 copy, you can put in another copy of the Traptrix Holotea for this spot also. The 2 copies of Gravedigger's Trap Hole. When a monster effect in their hand or graveyard is activated, when your opponent's banished monster effect is activated also, negate the effect and inflict 2,000 damage to your opponent. So another great disruption for hand traps or any of your banished plays from your opponent, with the last of the traps being 1 copy of Terrifying Trap Hole Nightmare and the 1 Bottomless Trap Hole. I said the rest of the traps, but I meant to say the whole traps that we run in the deck, because we do have a wide variety of other traps that we still run in the deck to begin with. For the other play sets of traps we run, 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. You really do need something to at least be able to disrupt your opponent on the turn if they go first, because this deck you definitely want to go first, but sometimes you won't, so you need some more disruption going second, and whether it'll be the Infinite Impermanence or the main deck evenly matched that we run also, because with this card you can clear out your opponent's field. They will only have 1 card to rely on the field, which is a lot more easier to deal with than the many set cards or many monsters they may have on the field while you try to set up your back row and your Traptrix monsters, with the other 3 ofs being 3 copies of Torrential Tribute for more destruction of cards on the field. And then some of our bigger Traptrix monsters are also unaffected by trap effects, so then you can still use Torrential Tribute to clear out the board on the field. 3 copies of Compulsory Evacuation Device, so you can avoid any graveyard plays by sending back that extra deck monster your opponent controls to their extra deck. And also the 2 copies of Ice Dragon's Prison for more of a special summon resource of your opponent's monsters when they have the same type of monster on the field and their own graveyard to take and use. And then lastly, I run the 1 Shade Brigadine. If you open this card up, it's just another easy trap option to activate other than the Holotea, which is what I'd prefer for the trap special summon, but still an added backup trap to use. And then the 1 Anti-Spell Fragrance, since it's the @1, and we only have 3 spells, so if we activate this, it could hurt our opponent a lot more than it could hurt us. For the Link monsters, our most important Link monster in the deck is Traptrix Sarah, running 3 copies of this card. This Link summon card is unaffected by trap effects. You can only use each of the following effects of Sarah once per turn, and not during the damage step. If a normal trap is activated, you can special summon 1 Traptrix monster from your deck with a different name than the cards you control, extending your resources to use with their cards. And if your other Traptrix monster effect is activated, you can set 1 whole normal trap directly from your deck. So more and more setup is the big thing that you provide with Sarah. Being able to also be unaffected by trap effects, you can go with the Torrential Tribute play, as I mentioned before, activating that trap, special summoning a Traptrix resource on the field also. And then also the 1 copy of Traptrix Caleria and the 1 Traptrix Adipus for the added power boost that you get with Adipus, and the Caleria having more recycle power, and also being able to, during the end phase, target a Traptrix monster in your graveyard and special summon that resource onto the field also. With our other Link monster just being the 1 Apollosa. If you can grab more resources with Calaria, you can then at least go into a bigger Link 4 monster that can stop your opponent's monster effects. With our Xyz monsters being the 1 copy of Traptrix Pinkakula, the 1 Rafflesia, and the 1 Allomeris, having more of the detach power for special summoning an insect or plant monster from your graveyard with Allomeris, the copy effect of Traptrix Rafflesia being able to use with the other trap effects, and being able to, while you have Pinkakula, when it's unaffected by trap effects and activate effects while it has Xyz material, and being able to detach 1 to add a Traptrix monster from your deck to your hand off of that search. For our generic Xyz monsters, the 1 copy of Baguska, the 1 Gagaga Cowboy, the 1 Abyss Dweller, along with the 1 Tornado Dragon for the rank 4 Xyz, and then the 1 Zeus and the 1 Typhoon Sky Crisis for more of the added Xyz power to provide on top of our other monsters that we use. And then as for the go-to plays in the deck, the setup with this being a control deck comes down to what you open up in your hand. If you go second, of course, you want to see more of the cards like Infinite Impermanence and evenly matched in your hand. But if you end up going first, your setup will be comprised of what you can resolve for your lineup. If you open up cards like Myrmilio, I would say it's one of your best normal summons to go into, because then you can go for the normal summon of your Traptrix Myrmilio. This will give you the search, and depending on if you know what your opponent's playing or the setup you want to go for, you can go for one of your specific disruption trap holes or just the straight up destruction one, having all this search available to you with your Myrmilio. If your opponent hand traps this card, then your next bet is to go into your Link 1, using it as the resource to summon out your Traptrix Sarah. And then if you have cards like your Traptrix Holatea in your hand, this could have also been the potential search off of the Myrmilio if the search went through, and then being able to discard a normal hand trap from your hand, and then be able to special summon this card in defense. So then you'll set this card, discard the card, activate it, then the Traptrix Sarah will activate since the normal trap was activated to special summon a Traptrix monster from your deck with a different name from the cards you control. The one you'll want to go for this additional setup for your ad will either be one for a banished disruption, protection of your traps, or you can even go for more of the added playstyle of being able to go for resources to use against your opponent using the different Traptrix monsters that we run. You'll have the use of these cards because then you'll be able to overlay into your needed Traptrix monster that you may want to go for. So then you'll have the Trap Troll set up ready to go with your Rafflesia, and then also the initial monster search for when you activate your other Traptrix monster effects. So depending on what you summon out, you could also potentially activate Sarah, because then if you use the banish off of cards like Pudica, you'll have the search of Sarah to then be able to add and set up that needed trap hole card also. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you enjoyed. Like I said, it's been over a year since the last update to it, but still a fan favorite of the deck, so I wanted to keep it up to date as well. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Twig out.